Just as I predicted, the Chiefs won Super Bowl 58 because Patrick Mahomes was always going to know how to win more than Brock Purdy was going to be able not to lose. Hey Broncos Country, I'm Lori Lattimore-Volkman, and this is the post-Super Bowl Roundup. A Super Bowl where the Broncos could not have been more irrelevant. But we aren't talking about that stupid Super Bowl, because this is all I have to say. What we are going to talk about is the Broncos learning how to win and not just how not to lose. That was a topic Sean Payton addressed last week while making the rounds on Radio Row. It begins with fixing the culture in the locker room from a losing one to a winning one. And that's a lot harder to do after opening your season 1-5.
You're one of the most competitive guys I know. It's a results-oriented business. You don't want to lose. But how much of this year was about you building and establishing the culture you want in Denver?
Well, I mean, a lot of it is, and it's a we thing. You know, it's the staff, it's the team, it's the organization, and I think one of the bigger challenges is when you start off 1-5, and obviously, like a horrific loss to Miami. But when you bring in a new message and have early success, that's easy.
They'll buy in.
Yeah, but when you bring in a new message and, man, you're not having that immediate success, it becomes more challenging. And you know, we looked a little bit at Detroit the year prior where they were 1-6. They had a tough stretch there, but their takeaways numbers weren't that good. They were turning the ball over, and they flipped that script. They went 8-2 that year. And if you recall, they finished 9-8, a game short of the playoffs. They were eliminated right before they beat Green Bay. And I remember, look, the one thing you need in our league, you have to have hope each week when you play. And I'm pointing out those numbers, and fortunately for us, our script flipped the same way. We started taking the ball away. You know, we had some big wins. We obviously had a chance to beat Kansas City at home, then went on the road to beat Buffalo, and that's what gave us a chance. And so before you learn how to win some of these tight games, you have to learn how not to lose games.
But despite losing 2 of their final 3 games, Sean Payton believes the Broncos are on the road to developing that winning mentality.
There's still that uneasy feeling that there's so much left on the table relative to the year we had. What happens when you do push back in a season like that and you get your head back above water, the energy to continue. When you dig yourself in a hole in this league, it's hard. So this offseason is going to be important for us. Draft, free agency, the questions around Russell, obviously, what we're doing at quarterback. All of those things are going to be vital to our success, not only in 24, but our success really in the next 3 or 4 years.
Payton is absolutely right when he says the team has to learn how not to lose before it can learn how to win, especially in tight games. That's exactly what Mahomes is great at. For years, Chiefs teetered on that balance, with the Broncos always dominating the series, as the Chiefs would mostly lose. But since Mahomes has come on board, the Chiefs have always known how to win, even when they're down, or behind, or don't have the momentum, or don't even have the best game. And a huge part of being able to do that comes directly from the quarterback. While Russell Wilson definitely has a winning mentality and was a huge key to the Broncos turning their 1-5 start around to a 5-game winning streak, some of which involved come-from-behind victories, it's still pretty clear that Wilson will not be Payton's QB of the future. Last year at this time, while Payton was making the rounds at Radio Row, he was walking on water as far as Broncos country was concerned. He was the new head coach, and he was talking about working with Russell Wilson, but in hindsight, if you listen closely, you realize he actually avoids the question about Russell Wilson until the very end.
Brand new head coach of the Denver Broncos, absolute legend, Super Bowl champion, Sean Payton. Woo! How about Russ, though? How was the conversation?
It was fantastic.
You said you've coached him in the Pro Bowl.
I had him at the Pro Bowl.
Was that a big part of your decision on going to Denver?
Well,
because there was conversation about quarterback and where you're going.
Yeah, I think this. You don't know someone if you haven't coached them. We played against them a lot. Like, we had a stretch with the Saints and the Seahawks, NFC, and then playoffs, I can see from afar the things that all of us have read. When you go 5-12, there's a lot of dirty hands. Sure. It's not, we focus on the quarterback and the head coach.
Okay.
The number one thing was ownership and front office, because that gives you the ability to fix, change, move, all of the above. If the other exists with the great quarterback, then you're just going to be a bad team with a good quarterback, and you're probably going to get fired.
Got it. So the quarterback alongside good ownership made Denver dream scenario. You see Russell Wilson still as Russell Wilson.
When do you find like the perfect quarterback with the perfect ownership, and
that job's not open. I don't know if
Andy Reid's coaching the Chiefs.
Good luck with Denver. You love Russ?
Yeah, I do. You're
going to make Russ better than Russ ever been, you think? Is that kind of all coaches' mentalities, I assume?
In Texas, they would say we're fixing to do it.
And this year, Payton is dropping hints about why they will not be working together in the future. Speaking to Jim Rome, Sean Payton shot down all the rumors that the Broncos head coach already knows what he's doing at quarterback and that he's planning to trade up in the draft to get the young QB he wants. Slow down, says Payton. He doesn't even know the jersey numbers of those guys yet.
Sean, what are you doing at quarterback? What's going to happen with Russ? Can you see him starting for you next year?
That's a possibility. We said it after the year, and there are a lot of skeptics that are like, "Oh, you're crazy. You didn't play the last 2 weeks," and I understand that. We needed a spark offensively. We weren't scoring. Here's what I know. All right, there's already been all these reports relative to the draft. We don't start looking at the college players, the coaches, till Monday. All right, so I couldn't tell you the jersey number of some of these top quarterbacks that I know are going to get drafted early in this draft. So Monday begins the college, we call it the front board meetings. In the meantime, we're looking at free agency. We're looking at the players that are going to be available on other teams. But this puzzle, if you will, with the board flipped and flipped back upside down, and you factor in salary cap, how much money, where your draft picks, the spots that we consider musts, like musts, quarterback's a must, all right, and that's to include, is Russell a part of that or not? And as soon as we know those answers, then he'll know it, and we'll move forward. But
when he talks about the kind of QB he wants, it doesn't sound like number 3 is going to be included.
Completely fair. So let me ask you this then. We don't know who, we don't know which, but you know what you're looking for in a quarterback.
Absolutely.
What are you looking for in a quarterback?
I think it's important that they're quick processors. Let me give you an example, and this was a strength of Drew's. It's a strength of Mahomes. During any given play in 7 seconds, he's going to point out the mic ID. He's going to send the receiver in motion. He's going to alert the back here for a check down, and he's going to alert Kelsey. It's cover 0. Like, he's a guy that gets in the car. And I'm the opposite now, right? I've got this new car. No, I'm dead serious, though.
No, I know where you're going with this. That's why I'm laughing.
I've got this new car, right? And I know how to turn the radio on. I get to my auto, 72 degrees, whatever that is, and I drive. All right? I never have it in. And these guys will
you don't go through your driving progression?
No, these guys will
your driving tree?
They'll heat the back seats if you need it. They get to the 50 buttons that are available. Heat warmers, seat warmers. I have no idea where my seat warmer is, but I know I have one.
Right.
These guys got to be able to operate quickly in 6 or 7 seconds. It's the hardest thing for us to evaluate.
So brace yourselves for an interesting offseason. And let's hope that one of these years we actually put together a team that does know how to win.
Voters have a very difficult job. Every year, every time they meet, they're looking at a bunch of guys who are all Hall of Famers. They're all great players, and you could put them all in.
Go take a look at any game that Randy played and watch what he did, because he played the same every single time that he was out there.
He is without a doubt a surefire Hall of Fame player. Look at some of his numbers.
I would say if Randy Gradishar played on the Pittsburgh Steelers or the New York Giants or somewhere on the East Coast, he'd have been a first ballot Hall of Famer.